Sup?
Sup?
Sup? Sup?
What's up with you?
I don't know. It's a good day. Hi, Karen, Andrea, Freddie. How are you? Sarcastic sister. Hi, Amanda. Def code name says Jill rules. There you go. Hi, Joe Griffin.
Thank you, Death Code Name. Hi, Amanda.
Everyone on TikTok, streaming live on YouTube and TikTok. We have a live goal right here for the GOAT, whatever that is. Hi, Lorianne. Hi, Ryan. I thought it was a pretty good interview yesterday. For anybody here who hasn't seen my interview with the news girl, Lisa Remillard, it's on my YouTube channel. It's a video. You can watch it. 1212. Can you not hear me? Do you need any healthcare consultants for my show? Healthcare consultants? I don't know. Can you hear me on YouTube, Jill?
Let me turn it on. Let me mute this.
Sal said 1212. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if that means you can't hear me or.
I can hear you.
Huh?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas. Real quick, the Dow Jones is down about 250 points today, so it's lost a little bit. Great. Oil is 67. Gas still at 308. Natural gas 406. The RBOB is up a couple of cents to 217. That is the wholesale price of gasoline. It was 220 this morning, and it fell a little bit after the. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Tesla is down $12 to 226. Tesla is well below. Its high was 488. It's lost over half of its value in the last few months. Ooh. Wow. Canada is considering not buying F-35s along with other countries now. So I don't understand why they're considering it. Just don't do it. Just say we're not doing it. We're done. What's there to consider? I mean, according to the United States, Canada only exists because we protect them anyway. So why do they need our F-35s? Cancel the order. Right? Right. Half the economy thinks, or half the people in this country think the economy is getting worse. Only 19% think it's getting better. That's not good because that will drive down consumer confidence moving forward, which is never good for the economy. Ah, man. How much is Tesla down? Tesla is down $12 today. It's $226 a share. Its high this year was $488. So it's lost 262 points off of its high. Of course, its high was way too high anyway. So, but you remember Ryan Walters, Jill?
Yes.
Ryan Walters, for those of you that don't know, he's the Oklahoma State superintendent for education in the state of Oklahoma. He's been very Trumpish. He's a huge Trump guy. He's trying to buy Trump Bibles for all the schools. He's always simping for Donald Trump on social media. He recently went through an ethics investigation, and Ryan Walters is being forced to remove his title as the Oklahoma Secretary of Education from all of his social media accounts. So he has to remove his title from his social media accounts because the state of Oklahoma does not want the state of Oklahoma on his social media when he's blowing Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
And he's also got to pay a $5,000 fine, which probably ain't nothing for him. But it's great. He's got to remove his title from all of his social media.
So you're a pretty bad person when Oklahoma is is like, we don't want associated with you. Okay?
Yes, exactly. Oklahoma's like, stop telling people you work for us.
Right?
We can't have that. Ryan says that he normally says Tesla is a buy under 200 and sell over 400, and that's worked well for him at 226. So I just need 226 more bucks, and I can buy me a share, I guess, maybe two. Oh boy, yeah. Adam Kinzinger dares Trump to arrest him, says, stop pretending like you're tough.
What?
I think Adam Kinzinger wants Donald Trump to arrest him. Yeah, did you not hear that yesterday, Jill?
I did not hear that.
Yeah. Well, it came from Donald Trump claiming that the pardons were reversed, and Adam Kinzinger got a pardon. A preemptive pardon that he didn't even want. He didn't even want the pardon, by the way. He was like, I don't need a pardon. I was doing my job. So he came out on the news last night and basically dared Trump to arrest him, which I think is the right move.
I think it is too. Yes.
I think it is. And I hope he does arrest him. And I think Adam Kinzinger hopes he arrests him too.
Yes, I think so too. I have hot sneezed on it. That was a little sneeze though.
Christine says Adam might end up in Venezuela. Even better. Listen. Even better. Send Adam to Venezuela. Let's just really figure out how far Donald Trump is willing to go. And if Adam's willing to do that, more power to him.
Hello, Heather.
Oh, boy. Trump and Putin talked today, and there's a ceasefire in Ukraine, except it's not a ceasefire because it only applies to energy infrastructure. So when you see all these people talking about the ceasefire in Ukraine, that's not a thing. It only applies to energy infrastructure and nothing else. As a matter of fact, Russia was striking Ukraine during the talks and continued after the talks. Why is it called a ceasefire? I don't know. It's only a ceasefire for energy infrastructure, but did you see what Caroline Leavitt said? Caroline Leavitt, they're saying she had a gaffe as press secretary. She said the Trump DOJ will continue fighting law and order instead of fighting for law and order. You might want to let that soak for a second. Caroline Leavitt said the Trump DOJ will continue fighting law and order instead of fighting law and order. And I'm not saying she said they will continue fighting law and order and stopped. I'm not saying she said one thing instead of the other. She said instead of fighting for law and order. I didn't say that. She said that. Little bit of a slip there, I think. Thank you all so much for the gifts. We have a goal up here. Please gift the moderator. Peter says that's her only true statement. I have a question. Why isn't Caroline Leavitt a DEI hire? I mean, you know what I mean? If she was a Democrat, she'd be a DEI hire.
those off of, or maybe her age. How old is she?
27.
She's young.
Yeah, she's 27. You know what I was doing when I was 27? Not that.
Not that.
Yeah, so she's the press secretary, and the press secretary is a woman because the word secretary is in the title, right? Just like every time Donald Trump is the president, whoever is running the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, it's always a black person because the word urban exists in the title. So he thinks it's got to be a black person. How much of our own crude do we refine? A little over 9 million barrels a day. We refine a little over 9 million barrels a day of our own crude. Dying Breed said his whole cabinet is a DUH hire. Duh. Yeah, I agree. So Carney came out and basically said that Donald Trump needs to shut the fuck up before they talk about anything, before they have bilateral talks about these tariffs. That's literally what he said.
Yes, he did.
He said, when Donald Trump shuts up, we'll talk. So I don't think they're going to talk, but I got to say, I really, I don't know much about this Carney person. I just don't. So I don't have really any opinions of him, either positive or negative. That's not what this is about. But I really appreciate the fact that he did that. I really appreciate the fact that he said, if you want to talk to me, you're going to shut the fuck up and you're going to quit disrespecting me. I really appreciate that because do you know what Justin Trudeau did when Donald Trump disrespected him? He flew his ass down to Mar-a-Lago or wherever he went and kissed his ass. So I like the fact that he said, if you want to talk to me, shut the fuck up. I love that. And I don't know anything about the guy. I just, so I like that one thing.
I like it too. Somebody needs to say stuff like that to him.
Yeah. Did Florida really ask for gas from Mexico? No, Florida is not out of gas. That's not a thing. That's an old story that has somehow came to life because people believe everything they see on the internet. BP says Trump has said nothing negative so far since then. So we'll see if that holds up. But I got to say, I love that. Because that's exactly what I would have said. I would have said, shut the fuck up and then I'll talk to you. But until then, kick rocks.
So, yes, you need to bully the bully.
You need to bully the bully?
You need to bully the bully. Yes.
I agree. What else do I got here? I think that's about it. So when you couple Carney saying, if you want to talk to me, shut the fuck up. You couple that with them saying, yeah, maybe we won't buy F-35s from you, right? Like that'll happen the same day. Yeah, maybe that's working a little bit. Maybe that's working a little bit. Do we refine our gas in Canada? Yeah, most of it. Yes, Canada refines a lot of their own gas. Hydro says, thought you guys were Americans. Yeah. I don't think you understand what being an American means, Hydro. I don't think you understand what being an American means. Which is ironic since you're apparently an American.
Weird, because I would have guessed we were Americans, right? The way stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is the Americans, the new, be scared of everything, be wimpy, but act tough. Is that American now?
No, Hydro's European, and he doesn't even know. Like, he doesn't realize that he's European because he bows to a king. That's not an American trait. That's a European trait.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess congratulations for having all that handed down from your ancestors. But I'm an American, so yeah, I left all that European stuff behind. What did someone ask me? Where's that question? Where is do oil companies really buy up and destroy all the surplus equipment? So it's not oil companies in themselves that are buying up and destroying all of the equipment. It's the big private equity firms, and it's the big service companies that provide services to oil companies. All the biggest ones have been buying up all of the equipment and destroying it so nobody can compete with them. Yes, that's absolutely a thing. 1,000%. Yesterday I looked at the yes, Smarty Pants. There's always room for you. Yesterday I looked at the my mind just went blank. Oh, the GDP now. The GDP forecast from the Atlanta Fed. It's still showing a 2% contraction. And here we are, what's today? The 18th. So, we're a little less than 2 weeks away from the end of the quarter. And they're still showing a 2% contraction in the economy for the first quarter. The closer we get to the end of the quarter and that remains the same, the more likely it's accurate. So that's not good. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just means every day that goes by, it feels like it's more likely to happen if they're still forecasting it this close to the end of the quarter. It was one thing when they were doing it a month ago or 2 weeks ago, and the closer we get, it's still happening. And it has moved up and down a little bit, but it's still showing like a 2% contraction. You think they're being optimistic? I'm not an economist, so I'm just reading the same thing anybody else reads. But we'll see what happens. Hello, Makeup Madness. That is correct. I shut down the Keystone Pipeline because I was busy. I was on YouTube and I forgot.
Why didn't you tell me you were in Pennsylvania?
Man. I was avoiding you.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
Look, if I was in Pennsylvania, you'd know about it.
Yes, I believe I would.
Saw Doug Ford saying Canada wants to be the first in line for tariff relief. I've not read that. Russia's been under sanctions since 2022, and it doesn't seem to cause any troubles with production numbers. What are your thoughts on that? So, and that's true, right? So, a lot of people think that we put tariff or sanctions on Russian oil that they're going to produce less. No, they're not. They're not. If anything, they're going to produce more. because they can still sell the oil. They just have to sell it at a deep discount to get people to buy it. And they can't trade it in American dollars. So they're still producing everything they've always been producing, right? The sanctions don't reduce production. They just reduce what Russia gets for the oil. That's where it hurts them at, right? Hi, Lorianne. Where can you get a t-shirt? There's a link in my bio. You go to my page. There's a link in my bio. All my shirts are there, including this shirt. Drill baby. Looks like we got some companies looking for bankruptcy in Louisiana. Yeah, oil and gas bankruptcies in Louisiana go hand in hand. There's some. It's very difficult to make money in Louisiana in the oil and gas business. If you're a pure play like natural gas producer, it's not that hard. But if you're an oil producer, it's difficult to make money in Louisiana. And that's because a lot of those wells, a lot of companies go in, they buy legacy fields, right? Those wells produce so much water that it costs a fortune to get rid of the water and sell the oil. And often you end up spending as much money getting rid of the water than you make selling oil. So that's pretty typical for Louisiana. Minnesota senator just arrested for soliciting an underage. I didn't see that. I did see the pastor in Texas that was either arrested. I think he was convicted, actually. Hi, Rusty. Thank you, Trumpfeld. Gave me a shout out. Thank you. You like turtles. Turtles are cool. I typically swerve when they're walking across the road. Will there be another downturn in oil this year? I don't know if we'll have a full-fledged downturn. So keep in mind, for 18 to 24 months, we've been predicting that oil prices were going to fall throughout all of 2025 and 2026. You can go back to anybody's predictions from 2023 and 2024. Go look at EIA's old forecasts, McKinsey Wood forecasts, my forecasts. IEA forecasts. We've all agreed that we're entering a softening market and oil prices will be somewhat lower. I wouldn't call it a huge downturn, but somewhat lower in 2025 and 2026. We had a long period of high prices that spurred a lot of production growth. And we're getting into a period where, we're producing a lot more oil. That's what happens when you have high prices. You end up producing a lot more oil. When you have low prices, you end up producing a lot less oil. That's why drill baby drill isn't a thing. Very remedial economics, right? This is not complex or this is 8th grade stuff, maybe 7th grade stuff. So if we get into a big recession, a deep recession, if this quarter ends and we have a 2% contraction, yeah, there's going to be a big downturn. There's going to be a big downturn. If that doesn't happen, there won't. Smarty Pants says there's a lot of buying support for WTI in the $65 to $67 range. And that's exactly what I'm seeing too. 65, 67, 60, that's where it's staying. Once it gets down into that upper $65 range, it shoots back up, and once it hits that 67 or so, it kind of stays. That's kind of it's trading in a very tight window, and that shows you that there's comfort right there. Right? That's where people are comfortable. And that's a very tight window for oil prices. That window is typically much bigger. It's usually twice as big as that. There's a lot of bullish sentiment in the oil market, but there has also been in the last few days, there's also been some huge bets on $100 oil. And don't get excited. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just, it's interesting because these people have so much money that, you know, and it's such a cheap bet, and it shows how much gambling there actually is in the market. Somebody bet, what was it? I don't remember the exact contract, but basically oil was going to hit $100, and the cost of that, the cost of that was like, I think was it a nickel? Anyway, the cost of their entire bet was $1 million. But if it comes to fruition, I think they're going to make like $600 million or some shit. So that right there tells you that the odds of oil hitting $100 aren't that great, but people are making those bets. People are definitely making those bets. Overall, the market is bearish for sure, but it's interesting seeing those big bullish bets because sometimes those people hit. Sometimes they make a fortune. But what they're betting on is that all the conflict in the Middle East is going to continue to get worse. They're betting on Israel. They're betting on Iran. They're betting on Yemen. They're betting on all of that escalating. And what was interesting about it is they made that bet 2 or 3 days ago, I think. And what was it, yesterday? That Israel started bombing Gaza again. That we started with Yemen and the Houthis again, and we started threatening Iran left and right again. So literally right after they made that bet, and this was a fund, right after that happened, all of this stuff started happening in the Middle East suddenly. It makes me wonder who's invested in that fund. Just saying. Is there anybody in the government invested in that fund that's making these decisions? Top Hat Jones says, "Is that why Trump is pushing for the violence over there?" That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm wondering, right? It's just got to hit $100. It ain't got to stay there. We'll see what happens. Mr. Global, can Canada not sell its oil to other countries? So here's the thing. Canada can sell its oil through the Trans Mountain Expansion to other countries, and it can also sell its oil through the original Keystone Pipeline through other countries. But, and this is something people haven't talked that much about, the USMCA gives the United States preference on that oil that flows through the Keystone Pipeline. So basically, we get the first shot at it. So what that means is Canada can't just say, you don't get any more of this oil, we're shipping it out of the country. And that was part of their agreement. That was part of the USMCA. So you're not going to really see any oil from Canada going to foreign markets that comes through the Keystone down to the Gulf Coast. You're just not. Because it's cheap oil and the United States has the preference. Even a fair amount of the oil coming through the Trans Mountain Pipeline is going to California and not Asia. Some's going to Asia, but some's going to California. So they need more access to ports. East, west, I don't think it matters. West would be better, but either way. I mean, east would be better, but either way, right? Trump violated the agreement, so it doesn't matter. So violations in the USMCA are to be settled through mediation or arbitration, right? And so Canada would have to file a formal complaint, and this would go through all this process. They're not going to do any of that. They're not going to go through that. They never do. They just, I don't know why they even put this shit in there. They're not going to do it. So hi, Roman. Welcome back. I'm hoping to have an answer today from Justin Rupel. He's agreed to be interviewed, but I can't pin him down to on a date. And I messaged him last night, and I said, listen, put down the fucking golf clubs and get your ass over here and do this interview. You agreed to do it. So he said he would message me today. We'll see what happens. Yes, we need a bigger USMCA because the last one was so bad. According to Donald Trump, we need to make it bigger. Here where I live in Oklahoma, it's still very windy. We're still fighting fires, but not as bad as we were. I think we've lost somewhere between 400 and 500 homes to wildfires here in Oklahoma in the last couple of days. They've had the big planes that scoop the water out of the lakes. They're out and about. There's a lake about, I don't know, 15 minutes from my house over here. Those big planes have been flying in and scooping up water and fighting fires. So hi, Scotty from Oklahoma. Isaac, thank you so much for the gifts. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Snoopy. Can you repeat the name of the person you want to interview? I'm going to interview Justin Rupel. Justin Rupel is actor, comedian, impressionist. He's been an actor for over 20 years. He was in. He does a lot of voice acting. He was in How to Train Your Dragon, which I haven't seen, but he was in that. But mostly what he does is impressions. Thank you so much, sweet. Got a pot of gold. Are the planes from Canada? These particular planes are from Oklahoma. Yeah. We were getting 2 more planes from Texas, and they were damaged in severe weather, and they had to go back. So they got hit by a monster hailstorm, and they had to turn around and land. So that was wild. Yes, we discussed the Putin call ceasefire on energy infrastructure only in Ukraine. It only applies to energy infrastructure, not on anything else. So, I'm sure this will go the route of all ceasefires with Russia, right? I mean, they violate every ceasefire. So. Why can't the United States do oil and natural gas like Alaska to supply the strategic oil reserve and fund other government agencies? That is because most of the oil produced in Alaska is not produced on privately held land, and most of the oil produced in the lower 48 is. So the government would be taking money from private mineral owners and basically giving it to other people. That's why we can't do it in the lower 48. All the land in Alaska is either federal or state-owned land, and so they can do that. They can have that program in Alaska where the people that live there get a little check, a piece of the pie, so to speak. You can't do that with privately held land, and roughly 75% of the land that produces oil in the lower 48 is privately held. I guess Putin made Donald Trump wait for an hour.
Which is hilarious.
Did you see the video of Putin and the guy from China on the train watching Donald Trump blast Zelensky?
I did not see that.
I'm wondering if it was real. Like, it looked real, but I'm not sure it was real.
I have no idea.
That's like Norway and their national pension fund. It is, except Norway's is a lot better. Yeah, Norway's is a lot better than Alaska's. Norway has over, I can't remember. I think it's like $1 trillion in their pension fund. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on Trump reconsidering the agreement treaty for the Columbia River? I honestly have not read or seen anything about that.
Me neither.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
Is it?
Huh?
Is it another new news for today?
Nah, I don't know. Dee Dee asked. I wish I could answer your question, Dee Dee, but I haven't heard about that.
There's been so much going on today. Like breaking news everywhere.
Yeah. Fucking people, I swear.
But that's why I asked, is it a new thing that happened today?
Do you have an average on what the rest of the year natural gas will be? I can tell you the average for the rest of the year is going to be well over $4 because we're going to see some natural gas spikes this summer when it gets really hot, and then it's obviously going to climb again in the winter. So natural gas will be climbing. Assuming we have a winter. Hell, we might not have a winter this year. We don't know. If we don't have a winter, it won't be as bad. But, everything impacting natural gas prices right now and for the foreseeable future for quite a while. And when I mean quite a while, I mean 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It's all upward pressure on natural gas prices. One thing we've seen over the last few months, we've seen natural gas prices more than double, but we haven't seen any drilling activity increase for operators that are natural gas players. So, there's rigs that are basically natural gas rigs, and there's rigs that just drill mainly for oil, right? We haven't seen the rig count move at all with natural gas rigs. And that's with the price of natural gas more than doubling. So the longer that stays, the longer that trend continues, the worse it's going to get. And typically we would see rig counts jump by now with natural gas prices where they are, and we're not seeing it. And the fact that we're not seeing rig counts jump with really profitable natural gas prices is a big indicator. These big oil companies, they have a lot of very talented people that work for them. And some of the people that work for them are people that forecast the economy. And in addition to that, those people have a lot of stroke. And if they're saying we could be headed for a recession, we could be headed for some kind of crash, they're not going to spend any money, no matter how high natural gas prices get. So the fact that there's no more drilling going on in the natural gas space when natural gas prices are high tells you that they think something is coming. And it's not that they think they would lose money with natural gas. It's that they think, there may be much better investment opportunities in the next few months. If everything crashes, there may be a much better place to park our money short term where we can get huge returns, right? So don't get it twisted. Oil companies buy stock just like anybody else. They don't just invest in fossil fuels. Like, they play the stock market. They literally play the stock market. So they're seeing something, or they would be drilling more already. What is the total working rig count in the United States? It's about 590 right now. I haven't looked today, but it should be 590, maybe 91 or 92. It's right about where it was, a couple of months ago. Rig counts will move in a range of about 10 or 12, maybe as high as 15, where one week, it may jump by 10. That's just a lag in reporting. Another week it may fall by 10. So it's stayed within the historical range, basically. So it hadn't moved, is what I'm saying. Hi, Roman. Yeah, Mexico does have a lot of oil. What's the ratio of natural gas to oil in rigs? So there should be about 100 natural gas rigs running and close, not quite 500 oil rigs. The ratio is heavily weighted towards oil rigs. And that is largely because oil wells have a much larger decline curve. And what that means is once those wells begin producing, they fall off really fast. You get a little more, or you get a smaller decline curve in natural gas wells. So, we don't need as many natural gas rigs as we need oil rigs to maintain current production. But natural gas production has been falling in the United States because we hit historic lows in natural gas prices in 2023 and 24. So I don't know where the unemployment rate is today. I don't really know where it is.
So I made a really loud bang, and then you got real quiet, and am I not muted?
I didn't hear a bang.
No, I was muted, but it was just the timing.
Thank you, John Reinhold. Did you see that Alberta has 6 times the natural gas than they previously thought? I did not see that, but that's, I mean, good for Alberta. Jim of a Jewel says unemployment's at 4.1%. Thank you, Jim. What were you banging?
I wasn't really banging anything. I just dropped something. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think oil and gas plant design will go AI at some point? Yes, it absolutely will. A lot of it's already happening. AI is being used in a lot of areas that people don't even realize it's already happening. And, you know, it will, 100%. AI will just design the whole plant. Someone will just give it a command and it'll just design it. There's a fly in here. What the hell?
Is the windows open or something?
Is Fuzzard at my house?
My God.
What?
No, not Buzzer.
Why else would there be a fly here?
I don't know. Do you have a window open?
No. Oh, my back door's open.
Well, that'll do it.
So the dogs can get out.
That will do it.
Are oil investors concerned about Alaska volcano? I've not heard about Alaska volcano. When will the Scout come out? Probably today. I was thinking about getting it out today after this. If not today, tomorrow. Thank you all for the gifts. End Fuzzard hate. There's no hate. Thank you, Isaac. So a lot of people watched the interview yesterday, and some people were disappointed that I didn't continue the live after the interview was over, and I did that for the YouTube algorithm. YouTube does not like long lives, so I shut that live off for the algorithm so more people would see the interview. Peter, thank you so much for the super chat. Is methane released from natural gas wells accurately measured and listed somewhere, or is that the kind of thing no one wants to know? So everything we know about methane released from natural gas wells is largely estimates. There's a lot of wells that we know, a lot of your producing wells. So, in my company, we operate 180 wells, and only a handful of those wells are tested every year for methane releases. And that's just how they do it here. It's not how they do it everywhere. But there's a lot of wells that don't produce, that are leaking methane, that aren't measured, right? That's not a thing that's measured. So all of those methane releases that they're talking about that's escaping from natural gas wells and oil wells, that's all estimates. It's all estimates. If you find a database on that, it's not going to be accurate. It's just going to be a bunch of estimates. Great question, though. Thank you very much, Peter. And that reminds me, I still haven't gotten a hold of the guys at the Well Done Foundation, which is something I need to do. I'm going to do that today when I get off here. What do I think about measles parties? I'm not going to one.
Oh, measles parties is a very bad idea.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really go to any parties anymore, but definitely not going to a measles party. Not because I would be that concerned about the measles. It's the people that are there. Like, I don't hang out with people that go to measles parties. That's not a thing.
Well, you should be concerned about both the people that are there and the measles.
I've had my measles shots, I'm sure. I'm probably okay.
Probably isn't good enough for measles. I'm telling you, I had the measles as a child, and I do not want to go to a measles party.
You remember that?
Having measles as a child?
Yeah.
I was little, probably about 2 or so. I don't specifically remember it, but I know I had them.
Steven says, I don't go to Russian roulette parties either.
I think I was younger than 2. Yeah, I definitely was.
I was like 3 or 4 when I had them. And the only reason I know that, well, that wasn't the measles, that was the chicken pox. But the only reason I know that is from pictures. I don't remember anything about it.
I had chicken pox as well.
Why is Florida running out of gas? Florida's not running out of gas. That's an old story that people are reposting as a new story. Florida is not running out of gas at all. That they're not asking Mexico for gas. None of that's a thing. That was last year during Hurricane Milton. And people are reposting that as if it's happening currently, and it's not. It's all misinformation. So Florida's not running out of gas, Erica. Kennedy reports being released this week. Do you think they'll all be redacted like the Epstein files? Juju's got the big divot in her forehead from the chicken pox. I have one right here that I got from the chicken pox. I have a divot in my face.
I do too.
Hi, geek.
I have one too in my face.
Do you?
Right on my left side.
Me too. Mine's on my left side right here.
That's about where mine is.
Like where my It's my sound back. I bumped my mic and it went off for a minute.
I'm checking to make sure where mine is because it cannot be in the same place. There's no fucking way.
Do kids not get chickenpox anymore? My kid's vaccinated for it, and none of my kids have had the chickenpox. Yeah, none of my kids have had the chickenpox. They all got vaccinated for it.
So my son did not get vaccinated for it, but not because I wasn't willing to vaccinate him, because he got the chickenpox right before the vaccine came out.
That's right, Karen. My divot took out the sound. My divot hit the microphone and it knocked it out.
I'm trying to see where my divot is for sure. It might be on my right side. That's what I'm thinking. I can't remember. It can't be on the same side. Shit.
Dude, you've been looking at that thing for 45 years and you don't know where it is? Like,
no, because I try not to pay no attention to that shit. I have one from measles and then I have one from chickenpox.
so for the long, and I don't know why, I didn't have like bad acne as a kid or nothing, but for some reason I thought that was an acne scar and of some kind.
No one told you that that's what happened?
And I asked my mom about it and she said, that's not from acne, that's from when you got the chickenpox when you were little.
Yep.
RFK is a fool. Measles vaccines cost $1 and save lives.
Mine's on the right side, not the left, which is completely on the opposite side. So there you go. But it's in the exact same spot.
Geek is in the live. I haven't seen Geek in a long time.
Geek.
Yeah.
Hello, Geek.
I want to say hi to Geek. Hi, Geek. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Hope all is well in Geek's world. Will OPEC Plus start a new oil price war if they actually increase production now? So they won't, because here's what's not here's what's not being reported in the media. You keep reading in the media that about this OPEC Plus increasing production. The thing is, they're increasing production by 138,000 barrels a day, but they're decreasing Kazakhstan's production by nearly 500,000. Because Kazakhstan has been overproducing, right? So, and I've talked about this before, this is one of the problems that OPEC is constantly fighting, is their member nations are always overproducing their quotas. So the whole OPEC plus increasing production goes with Kazakhstan decreasing their production. So this would actually be a net loss in production if they are able to get Kazakhstan to stop overproducing. We don't know if they'll be able to get them to do it, but they're trying. So we'll have to see what happens. But even at 138,000 barrels of oil a day, that's not a price war thing. That's not enough. If it was 1 million, that's definitely a price war. Yeah. Anything over probably 500,000 barrels a day is price war stuff, right? So because it's not how much they increase production just as a number, it's how much they increase it relative to demand in the market. And in this market, it may even be less than 500,000. So, that's a good question, but 138,000 is not enough to initiate a price war. And the truth is, the United States doesn't really fight oil price wars because we're not capable of doing that. because our oil is produced by corporations and their oil is produced by nations. And they can increase production very rapidly or decrease production very rapidly. We can't, because our corporations can't afford to reduce it, and it takes them forever to increase it. So no, it's not price war. And all of the, we've talked about oil companies in the United States reducing their capex for 2025, which means, if you don't understand what that means, it means they're going to drill less. They're going to produce less oil. They're doing that to avoid a price war with OPEC. They're doing that also because they don't trust the Trump administration to get OPEC or other nations to produce a lot more oil and hurt their bottom line. So they're already pulling back. That's why when Donald Trump took office, he went straight to OPEC and asked for production increases. Because he told us we were going to drill, baby, drill. He asked U.S. producers, and U.S. producers said, no, that's not a thing. We're not doing that. So he went straight to OPEC. If the United States goes into a recession, will it bring gas prices down? It will bring gas prices down naturally, just because the sentiment in the market will be so negative. But fundamentally, they will recover to whatever demand meets or needs. And it depends on the type of recession and how deep the recession is, on if it actually has a big impact on oil demand. And keep in mind, if the recession stays localized to just the United States and it doesn't hit Europe or in China, then whatever effects we have from the recession on gas prices will be very short-lived. Germany's doing a lot of stimulus. China's doing a lot of stimulus. So there's a lot of things happening elsewhere in the world to speed up the growth of economies in other places. And if those things are successful, it will completely offset a recession in the United States. You have to remember, this is all done on a global market, right? And it's not just about the United States. It's what's happening in India is very important. What's happening in China is very important. Germany. All of these countries matter when it comes to our gas prices. So, it really depends on the depth of the recession, the type of recession, how long it lasts, and what's happening in other countries. So it's until we get there, it's really hard to analyze what's going to happen. But market sentiment will definitely bring down gas prices for some period of time if there's a recession. And then eventually, fundamentals will take over and they'll come back. Thank you, Mary Brown. What's the break-even price for oil in Oklahoma? That depends on who is producing the oil. If it's, let's assume that it's new drills, new wells, and it also depends on what play that those wells are drilled in. So a new well in the Cherokee play in the Western Anadarko Basin actually has a lower break-even price than, say, a well in the Scoop. And that's because the wells in the Cherokee play in the Western Anadarko Basin produce a lot of gas. And gas prices are really good. And, you sell your oil and your gas. So, in the Cherokee play, it's probably somewhere around $55, but that's assuming natural gas prices stay where they are, right? Because quite a few of those wells have significant natural gas production, 8 to 10 million MCF a day. And that offsets your oil price, your loss in your oil prices. So that helps your break even. When you get into other plays that are much heavier in oil with less natural gas, the break-even price is closer to 70 in some of those other plays. So it depends on the play, right? So for the state, I would say, 60, around 60 65 if you wanted to average it all together. But it really depends on the play. And the Cherokee play is a big play right now in Oklahoma. In addition to that, a lot of your legacy wells, a lot of your older wells that are low producers, depending on the type of work they need to be maintained, they're likely to fall offline with lower oil prices as well. So will tariffs on Canadian oil actually drive up the price or simply drive down the price Alberta gets for oil and exchange rate hit actually net zero? I think people have been overstating the impact that the tariffs would have on Canadian oil. I don't think it's as severe as a lot of other people do. When it gets back to, because what really matters is what you're paying for gas at the pump. Everyone focus on oil prices. I don't know why. They're not buying oil. They're buying gas at the pump. So how does it affect gas prices at the pump? And I've held pretty firm that maybe 5 cents a gallon, and you won't even see it because it'll be hidden in the spring and summer demand and summer gas and all of those price increases that occur anyway. It's going to be hidden inside that, so you won't even really see an increase in gas prices in the United States above what you would normally see. Because the increase in gas prices this spring and summer aren't going to be as significant as they were last spring, right? Because oil prices are lower this year. So it's to me, it's kind of a nothing burger. It really is. Now, it could impact, it's definitely going to impact profit margins for refiners, but I'm not too concerned about profit margins for refiners at this point. I'm more concerned about what people are paying at the pump. So I don't think we're going to see much impact at the pump with tariffs, a 10% tariff on Canadian oil. It's not really a thing. And also you got to keep in mind, Canadian oil is like 50, last time I looked, it was $56 a barrel. A 10% tariff on that puts it at like $60. Yeah, it's not going to be, the tariffs on other items, steel and aluminum, lumber, the tariffs that they've instituted to target red states, tariffs on farmers, those will have a much, much larger impact than tariffs on oil. I just had a request from Mr. Global's new backup. Yeah, me too. Me too, Apollo.
Yep, me too.
According to Find, Saudi Arabia owns the largest producing refinery. Yes, that is the Motiva refinery in oh my God, my mind just went blank. But yes, it's the Motiva, Port Arthur, Texas. Yes, Saudi Arabia owns that refinery.
So Mr. Global's backup is the one that was messaging me.
Yeah.
He hasn't messaged me back since I said no, not try again. He hasn't tried again.
How can Trump artificially lower gas prices? He can tank the market, the stock market. He can drive the economy into the ditch. He could possibly get OPEC to produce more. The one thing he cannot do is the one thing he claims he's going to do, and that's drill, baby, drill. He can't do that, but he can do a lot of other stuff to tank gas prices in the United States. What happened to your name? It's like your name disappeared. That's weird.
Someone asked, did Mr. Global message me about cryptocurrency? No, they usually start out with thanking me for supporting them. And then I mess with them a little bit. And this one here asked me if I bought his shirts yet. And I said, you don't remember? And he come back with like one message after another saying how, he's Mr. Global and all this crap. I don't know, but I said, try again. So they always work our way into the cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
They got to lure you in a little bit.
A couple of questions. If Trump bombs Iran, would that cause an oil crisis? Absolutely. It absolutely would. Why does Canada subsidize oil prices to the United States? They actually don't. The United States buys it at market price. It's just the price that Canada fetches is cheaper. It's not subsidized. Just like the United States doesn't subsidize Canada. Thoughts on Kinder Morgan? Kinder Morgan's a great company. Why can't Trump drill, baby, drill? Because that's not how it works in this country. Oil companies drill when prices are good and there's profit to be made. And there's nothing the president can do to get them to drill. That's why they immediately came out and said, we're not going to drill because the price environment doesn't justify it. Companies in the United States are not beholden to the president. They're beholden to their shareholders. They're going to do what their shareholders say, not what Donald Trump says. And so you're not going to see any drill, baby, drill. That's not a thing. If Donald Trump wanted to drill, baby, drill, he would have to take action that would increase oil prices. That's the only way we would drill. That's it. That's it. Why did the USA let Saudi Arabia buy the largest refinery in the United States? So, because it's a U.S. company. It's a U.S. company. You see, during the campaign and during the run-up to the election, the oil companies supported Donald Trump, but not because of drill, baby, drill. They supported Donald Trump because he was going to get rid of the Biden EV mandate. That's why they supported him. So basically, they supported him and said, yes, we support Donald Trump. He got rid of the EV mandate, and then they said, great, now we're not going to drill. That is a perfect summary of what happened with Donald Trump and oil companies. They basically used him, just like Saudi Arabia used him in 2020. So the Motiva refinery in Port Arthur, Texas was previously owned by Shell and Saudi Aramco in a joint venture. And they owned a lot of stuff together. They owned multiple refineries, retail outlets, gas terminals. And they went through like a sort of divorce, right? So the two companies, they're like, we don't want to be partners anymore. And so they split up all of their assets. Shell got some of the refineries. Saudi Aramco got some of the other refineries. And Saudi Aramco ended up with the Port Arthur refinery. That's That's how that worked. So in Norway, we pay $8 a gallon for gasoline. Wow. So the question is, how much money do people make in Norway? And is $8 a lot based on the income of people in Norway, right? We hear a lot about how little or how much people pay for gas in different countries, but we don't ever hear about how much money they have to buy it, right? There's two sides to that coin. I said corn. Not a slip. I don't have any corn up here. There's places in the world where gas is really cheap, but it's expensive to the people that live there because they don't make any money, right? And a lot of people in the United States look at these countries and they're like, why is gas so cheap over here? And I'm like, well, because those people live on like $4,000 a fucking year. That's why gas is so cheap. They don't have any money. It's expensive to them, trust me.
So for some reason, I can't send goat.
Really?
Yes, it says the gift is not available.
You've been
You might want to change that.
You've been blocked.
I've been blocked from goat.
Isaac's got the goat. Isaac's been hooking me up with the goat.
I don't know why I'm blocked from it, but I am.
I blocked you from it. I told TikTok not to let Jilly have the goat. Hoy says regular salary in Norway is about 50,000.
Okay, those who have the goat did not do the update.
Is that it?
Possibly. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay, so there's a third question to the gas prices in Norway too, though. It's not just how much it costs, and it's not just how much they make. It's how many miles per day does the average person drive in Norway? Right? What's the consumption of the gas? Because in the United States, we consume a lot of gas because we live in a big country. There's people that drive 50 miles every day each way to work, right? And that's also a thing that's not the case in other countries. So if a person in Norway is driving half of the distance that someone in the United States drives on an average daily basis, then even though their gas is more expensive, their cost is half as much. Does that make sense? Is it a tax thing in Norway? I'm guessing a lot of that money goes into their pension fund as well. They have health care, they have a pension fund off of their oil and gas. So
So people are sending you goat, right?
yeah.
And it's not adding up in the section. It says one person. But in the box it says 40 or something.
Oh, I know I've gotten more than 40. Hell, just Isaac has probably sent me more than 40.
Yeah, because it's not adding up once you open the box up.
I read that Canada sells oil to the USA at a discount because it's too hard to sell to other countries because of trouble getting the oil to other countries. So it's not a discount in the way you're thinking of a discount. When we talk about oil prices and discounts, that only means that Canadian oil is cheaper than the benchmark. And the benchmark is WTI, right? It just means it trades at a lower price. Companies in Canada aren't giving companies in the United States a discount. They're buying it at market price. The market price is discounted because of exactly what you said. They don't have enough international buyers. The oil's trapped in a captive market. They don't have enough buyers. That naturally reduces the price of it. So companies in the United States are paying market price for the oil. It's that the market price is lower than the benchmark because Canada can't get it to other countries, just as you said. So it's not discounted beyond the market price. If the market price is 55, then that's what companies are paying. If it's 60, that's what they're paying. It's not being marked down any further, right? It's not being marked down at all. It just trades at a lower price. It's like if you've ever bought stocks, you typically want to buy a stock when it's at a discount. That means it's cheaper than it normally is. Buy low, sell high. When you're buying a stock low, you're getting it for a discount, right? It's not like it's on sale, right? It's not marked down. It's just cheaper in the market at that time. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for your subscription. All right, I'm going to reset this gold, Jill.
Yes, that's what I was telling you to do. And thank you, everyone, for the gifts.
All right. Tiny Dinies. Got a new goal. Yes. We're allowing Canada to sell us that oil. We allow Canada to build cars. Apparently we allow Canada to do everything. Like Canadians wouldn't even get out of bed if we didn't allow it. Look, if I ever move to Canada and get a job, I'm just going to call in sick every day. And when I call in to work, they're going to be like, why aren't you coming to work? I'm like, the Americans don't allow it. So I'm staying home until someone tells me it's allowed for me to go to work. Holy cow, I'm at that goal really fast. What has happened to people's brains in this country? Like, I swear to God, I don't get it. And honestly, I'm more impressed every day with the knowledge my grandfather had, because my grandfather told me every day of my life how stupid people were in this country. And that was before we had social media. It's like, how did he know that? If he saw people today, he would probably just, yeah. Monkey Boots says, my grandpa too. Does Canada buy more stuff from the United States than the USA buys from Canada? So actually, the only reason the United States buys more stuff from Canada is because we buy the oil. If we didn't buy the oil, we wouldn't have a trade deficit. But, you know, there's like, 40 million people in Canada and 350 million people in the United States. So you can't really compare who's buying more or less from the other. I mean, There's 350 million people here. There's a lot more opportunities for people here to buy stuff from Canada, right? There's a lot more people to buy stuff. Grace says people in America are very intelligent. That's why Elon Musk is in the White House. Yes. Elon Musk is in the White House because we worship greed and money. And anybody that has money, we think they're smart because they have money. And let me tell you something. I know a lot of people that have a lot more money than me, and most of them are dumber than a fucking post. And and I don't know how they got this money because they're dumber than shit.
Somebody that last night who told me that Trump is not dumb, and that because he's a billionaire. I was like, that doesn't mean he's not dumb. Like, that literally does not mean he's not dumb.
You know, the first person to win over $1 billion in the lottery is a billionaire too. That doesn't make him a genius. And I'm not even talking about Donald Trump or Elon Musk. I'm talking about the people I know in my personal life that I actually know that have a lot of money. Very few of them are actually, highly intelligent people. Most of them are average at best, and many of them are dumber than shit. A perfect example is Bob. Okay? Bob's got some money. Bob's got some money, and he may be the dumbest person on the internet. And I know that's saying a lot. But, I mean, we've all seen Bob. Bob's got some money. I mean, he lives on the freaking beach.
Grace,
He's
you're telling us to drink the Kool-Aid. Did you steal that from a liberal and then said it with your full chest when you wrote that? Is that what you did, Grace?
You still don't know who Bob is? Oh, you're going to meet Bob. But no, look, Bob is pretty successful. He's got a nice house on the ocean, on the beach. He's got a pool, right? He lives in a golfing community where he plays in golf leagues every day. So Bob's had some type of success in life. I don't know if he earned the money or if he inherited. It don't matter. The point is he's got some money, right? He's got some money, but he's not very bright. So, and and Bob tags me in every video he makes. Every single video Bob makes, he tags me in it. When it has nothing to do with me or oil and gas, it don't matter what he's talking about. He tags me in it. Trump just asked Denmark for eggs. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. I love how Donald Trump just trashes countries and then turns right around and asks them for something. Like, have you no couth? Jill?
Yes.
Do you have any couth?
Like, I know that word. That is I hate when people say that word.
I do too. I haven't said it in years.
Have you no coup? What the fuck?
It's not a. The word couth isn't pleasing to the ear. That's for sure. Because it just. I don't know. It just sounds like it could be something dirty.
It absolutely sounds like it could be, yes.
It's not a well constructed word. I don't know. Are we still culling chickens? Like we're getting into spring, so does the flu end in spring? The bird flu end in spring, like other flus, or what? I should put that on a T-shirt. Have you no couth?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna have to look up how to spell it before I put it on it. I don't have a clue how to spell that word. Do you, Jill?
I do not. I never even thought of spelling it.
I mean, I can't spell it. I mean, if I do spell it, I'll be guessing. Is what I'm saying.
I would say COUTH.
Could be. I don't know that I've ever seen the word on paper.
So everybody's saying it's COUTH. So
Yes.
but I was gonna say COOHCH.
Okay. So that's cooch. That's not couth. That's a different word.
No, it is. I was
And
joking.
that word also sounds dirty,
Yes, it is.
but not as bad as couth. Sarcastic Sister says it's COUTH, and she's a member, so I'm going with her.
Yes, and well, that's what I said the first time, right? That's what I said in all, like, for real. But yes, monkey boots. See, I had to add that because I knew it would make monkey boots laugh.
So Sarcastic Sister says it means good manners and sophistication, and if that's what couth means, then I have none. I don't have any couth, according
That's what it.
according to the definition, and neither does Jill. I can answer that for Jill. She doesn't have that either.
I have very good manners.
Sometimes. You're too much like me to
Uh,
you're too plain spoken to be very couthy.
oh my god.
Like couth is on a spectrum, okay? Couth is on a spectrum, and you're like over here on you're on the part of the spectrum I'm on. You're not over
I
here.
can be polite, right?
Well, I can be polite, but it takes effort.
Maybe it does take effort.
Yeah, if it takes effort, you don't really have couth. You just have effort. I feel like having couth would come naturally, and it wouldn't take effort.
So that's probably why my mother always said that to me. Do you have no couth?
I don't know why.
I just can't understand why she would say that to me all the time.
I curse like an oil worker. Does that make me uncouth? No, I think you can curse a lot and still have plenty of couth. I guess it depends on who you're cursing at and why.
Yes, my mother also told me I was born without couth. she said all kinds of stuff to me like that because I guess I was not a very nice person. Meanwhile, her every other word was fuck. But I had no couth.
I don't know, but you know, you can be a nice person and not have couth. I'm a nice person, generally speaking. I don't deal well with very stupid people.
I don't either. I don't either.
And the reason I don't deal well with stupid people is the things that they're stupid about is like basic things that the world knows that they don't, and that they could know if they wanted to know, and they just don't want to know.
Yes.
That's the people I'm not nice to.
Yes. And my husband would tell you that's exactly how I am. Because he's always saying to me, I'm sorry, you need to just, chill out and don't worry about them. And I'm always like, I can't fucking deal with them stupid people. I can't do it. And he's like, you got to chill. But, yeah, he's a chill person.
Yeah, it's basically people that thrown away everything they've ever been taught and everything they've ever known in their entire life to believe the words of one person. That's what these people are, because I know they've been taught these things. I know that they've been taught how the world works and how these things work. They've thrown everything, all the knowledge. You spend every day, every minute of your entire life gaining knowledge, right? People ask all the time, why are we here? Why do we exist? Why are we on Earth? We're here to grow. We're just like a tree or a plant or anything else on this planet. We're a part of the planet. We're a part of the ecosystem. We exist to do a couple of things: to grow, right? and to expand our species, right? And through this process, we learn every day. Every minute of every day, we're learning something. And these people have chosen to take everything they've ever learned in their entire life and to throw it away because one other living thing on this planet has told them to do so. I don't know how to make it any more clear than that. That's why we're here. That's why we exist, to grow as people, to learn. And people don't understand that in order for our species to survive, we must continue to grow and learn, right? It's the way we adapt. It's the way we evolve. Some things evolve by changing physically. Most of our evolution at this time in history is right here in our brains because we're an intelligent life form. So when I see people that are this stupid, I'm concerned about our species. I went off on a bit of a rant there, but that's okay.
Yeah, doesn't hurt anything.
North America cuts 35 rigs this week. U.S. stable. Canada, U.S. at 592, Canada 199. From Rig Zone. Oil prices this summer, if we don't have a massive recession from GDP numbers at the end of the first quarter, then they'll stay about where they are. Like, oil prices aren't going to move that much. If the economy collapses, oil prices are going to collapse with it. USAID is back open. I hadn't heard that. Cut a rig, turned it off. No, that's when they rig that. That's when they stack it out in the yard. So it's done working basically. They rig it down and they take it back to the yard and it sits there until it's got another well to drill. So I guess the question is will the judge's ruling be followed? If judge says USAID is back, that's only part of it. The ruling has to be followed. That's correct, Stephen. So, I think some of what we're going to see play out here is, based on the Supreme Court's ruling last year that on presidential immunity. I mean, that's what we're seeing play out. And now you have Justice Roberts with the Supreme Court, coming out and saying that Donald Trump can't do these things. Well, you're the motherfucker that ruled he could when you said he was immune. You're a Supreme Court justice. Do you not know how basic things work? If you make someone immune to something, they're going to go do that thing. That's the whole point. Hello? Good grief. You're a Supreme Court justice. You're the Chief Justice. And you didn't know what granting someone immunity to do something, you didn't know what would happen? I wish Biden had got that memo. Well, he did get the memo. He just probably forgot. Jill.
Yes.
If you had immunity, right, to do anything you want that's currently illegal, what would you do? And you know what? If it's what I'm thinking it might be, just don't even say it.
Okay, I won't say it.
Because I just realized what you might say.
You might exactly got it right because I'm not going to say it.
That would probably be best. I'm sorry I put you in that position.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it definitely would be a documentary, the thing that Jill would do. Yeah. It would be a big documentary.
I'm pretty sure it probably is the same thing that many of you are down there in the chat thinking, yes.
I'm not a bad influence. Trust me. She's got her own mind. She's the bad influence, not me.
I am. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
As if Nadia is not a bad influence.
She's not.
As if. Thank you for the chilies. Are those chilies? Chili peppers? What are those?
They are.
What about the lawmaker who did the Trump derangement syndrome bill getting arrested today? I hadn't heard that. So the lawmaker who wrote that got arrested. What did they get arrested for? I'm guessing a minor was involved. Yep, there it is. There it is. How did I know that? How did I know a minor was going to be involved? Of course, it's always the same thing.
So people on YouTube are starting to realize that we are like siblings.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. It depends on the audience, I guess. I'm looking this up, Jill. Are you looking it up?
I had to get my other phone. Lost it for a second.
Gotta look this up. And you know, when I heard that they were introducing that bill about Trump derangement syndrome, I didn't know if it was Democrats introducing it for Republicans or Republicans introducing it for Trump.
So I absolutely thought the same thing when I first seen it. I was like, who's introducing this? Is it the Democrats? They should be introducing that bill for Trumpers because they are definitely deranged with him, right?
Yeah. Governor Pritzker said the other day that Trump would not send him life-saving equipment during COVID unless he praised him on talk shows. Wow. Ooh, look at that guy. Oh, you can tell by looking at that guy.
Wow.
Oh, they caught him red-handed. Looks like it was a setup. Like they lured him in. You think Chris Hansen was there? You think he's going to be on To Catch a Predator?
I wish.
Barrister's here to challenge me. Barrister, I've felt bad about blocking you recently. I'm not going to do it anymore because I started thinking maybe he won't realize it's just a joke if I keep doing it.
That's good. I don't have to keep looking for him to pull him out of the block list.
Give me the heat, Barrister. Barrister's bringing the heat. Yeah, they were waiting for this dude when he showed up. Yeah, he has no couth. That's right. That guy has no couth. I mean,
Has no truth.
among other things. He was soliciting a 16-year-old for a certain type of activity, and apparently it was some kind of sting or something based on what I read because they were waiting for him when he got there. Which means that they knew he was doing it.
What, the Minnesota, right? Senator.
Yeah. His name is Justin Eichhorn, Eichhorn, from Grand Rapids. The police led him to believe he was talking to a 16-year-old girl and then met him and arrested him. It was totally a sting. They set his ass up.
They did, but I mean, he did it. That's how they get caught.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they knew he was doing this before, or they wouldn't have done this. Like, they had some type of evidence that he was doing this, and they wanted him to, yeah.
They wanted him off the streets.
And the Republican Party's trying to get him out and get rid of him.
Do you think Trump will pardon him?
No, I doubt it. I wouldn't be shocked. But I just don't think he will. Oh, man. Do you think introducing that bill had expedited this process?
I hope so.
Juju said he totally looks the part. I know. I looked at that dude and I was like, I could have seen that dude from the other side of Walmart and known he was a whatever. I'm not going to say because I'm on TikTok.
Right, and he does look the part. Absolutely.
Yes, he does. I mean, no offense to anybody in here, but he's a 40-year-old man with bangs. What else do you need to know?
Oh, what?
What?
I told you to stop that.
Stop what?
So, who was it that said it? Hold on. Somebody on YouTube. Where'd it go? Where'd the comment go?
Thank you, Adam.
Oh, it was your sarcastic sister. She said, dude's got a 5 head, not a 4 head.
Yeah, that's probably why he's got those bangs. He's trying to make it look smaller. It's not working.
Exactly. He should lose his seat. I would think
Yeah.
so. I mean, I don't think you can be a senator while in prison.
This is why Barrister combs his hair back like he does. Even Barrister knows you don't have bangs. I love breaking news. What are we talking about? One of the Republicans who introduced the Trump derangement syndrome legislation a couple of days ago was just arrested for soliciting a minor. That's what we're talking about. In a sting operation, no less. Senior says it happened the day they put the bill in. Wow.
Oh, wow.
No, it wasn't his first time. He was in a sting operation.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't his first time. That's why they did the sting.
Yeah.
They were out to get him.
Chris Hansen. I actually hired Chris Hansen to make a video for my wife on Cameo. It was great. Did you ever see that, Jill?
No.
Do you know who Chris Hansen is?
Yes, I do.
The guy from Catch a Predator?
Yes.
So I had him, he's on Cameo, and I messaged him and I asked him to make a video for my wife about going to thrift stores. And he makes this whole video. This is like a Catch a Predator type thing, but it's about going to thrift stores during COVID.
Oh my God.
Because this was during COVID.
Because she couldn't stay out the thrift stores.
Yeah, and he's like, he's on her about buying bird cages and shit. Like it was so funny.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
You're not supposed to be out buying bird cages during a global pandemic.
That's hilarious.
I still have it. I have it on my phone. I think it's great. Best money I ever spent. Best money I ever spent. Oh man. Oh, it happened. I can put it on TikTok. It should. Yeah, I can put it on. I'll have to go find it. It's 5 years old, but I have it on my phone. I would put that on YouTube too. I don't know. My wife might not like that.
Might not.
She might.
Might not.
It's been a long time though. Like she might be over it now.
She's not in the video, right?
No, it's just him talking.
She might be fine with it then.
Oh, she won't be. If I ask her, she'll be like, "No, you're not doing that."
You better ask her. You better ask her. Do not play that game. So don't, people, he does not know if he can put it on TikTok yet. If he's allowed, he will put it on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great video, but it's not worth it. She would get mad at me and go buy 50 bird cages. Well, she's probably already got 50 bird cages, so I mean, I'm not that concerned about that. But no, I mean, she does this. She sells all this stuff. She has an Etsy store, and so she does. She buys a lot of stuff and she sells it, and she actually makes really good money doing it. It's not her full-time job. It's just something she does on the side. But Jill, it's 4 o'clock.
It is.
It is 4 o'clock. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. If you want, I had a couple of people ask about t-shirts. Link in my bio on TikTok. There's also a store on YouTube. If you're interested in one of these shirts, thank you all so much. Working on another interview hoping to get it done this week with Justin Ruppel, getting him pinned down on a day. Thank you for all the gifts and for joining us today. Jill?
Thank you, everyone, for the gifts, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great afternoon.